Chuck Crosby over at the Crosby Law Offices. This one rings true and will ring true to a lot of people listening right now. Christina lives in a Louisville neighborhood. We won't mention which one. And she's having a problem with several, not just one, but several neighbors holding holiday parties that they're throwing right now at this time of year. She says she doesn't mind the noise of the music, but she's upset with the fact that visitors are parking their cars on both sides of the street, making it very difficult for cars, including Christina's, to get through. And she's wondering, what can I do, Chuck?
Sort of a Molotov cocktail, probably not a whole lot. If there's an HOA, you can complain to the HOA, but the problem is HOA will say, hey, don't park cars there. Okay, well, the car's not there anymore. And if it's not an HOA, if it's just straight up Louisville, calling the LMPD to say, hey, there's cars parked here unsafely or improperly or whatever, my understanding is it takes a while before they actually do anything. Now, if it's unsafe, maybe call 911 and say, hey, there's all these cars parked unsafely. If an ambulance has to get through, it can't happen. Maybe that would get a little something going. But is there a legal thing you can do? Not really. I mean, by the time you could come up to somebody and say, hey, there's trespass, I'm going to get a lawyer, we're going to sue you, the party's over, the people are gone. So unless it's like they're running a nightclub in there and it's every night, there's just not a whole lot to do except, take them an apple pie and say, hey, guy, you're being a bad neighbor.
The old apple pie diplomacy, yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of an issue we're having in our HOA with a guy who he's deciding to park half on the grass, half on the drive, and half on the road. I mean, figure out how you can get three halves on a car. I don't know how he does it, but actually enforcing it is the big deal.
He's not supposed to be on. He's only supposed to be on one, or he's not supposed to be on all, or.
Yeah, there's parking spaces. You either park in the space, you park on your driveway, or you park in the garage. You don't park on the road and the grass and your driveway all at the same time. Imagine the angles here.
Yeah, that's got to be a little tough. So, all right, so it's not just this one particular problem, Christina. But I will tell you, to her defense, that when it's a little snowy or icy out there, and then you got both cars and trying to fit through.
Well, if something happens then you've got, liability changes. Parked car, parked improperly, parked unsafely. There may be something to do if something happens. But like I said, I've got a buddy who lives on a street much like the one you're describing. Yeah. And cars park illegally, improperly, whatever. He calls the police and they'll get around to it when they get around to it.
Yeah, they got other things. Gosh, I mean that.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah. Christina, our sympathy, and I don't know, maybe someone's listening who's about to have a party, and you can kind of basically tell your guests, hey, park on one side of the street.
Be a good neighbor.
Yeah, damn good you do. A reminder, if you're thinking about selling your home, we actually have a free, no obligation booklet that has hundreds of useful tips. If you'd like a copy, it's very simple. Send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com. Put selling tips in the subject line, and I'll send it right out to you. And if you're thinking about an inspection, what does that entail? Our friend Brad Lawler has put together a similar type booklet on what to expect from a home inspection. Again, send an email to me, bob@wesellouisville.com, and put in the subject line home inspection, and then I'll send that out to you. And if you want to send us a question for our radio show, that's also simple. Send it to bob@wesellouisville.com and just put radio show question in the subject line, and then put the question in the body of the email.